Okay, so this video is about making chord sequences a little bit more interesting. I'm going to take a very common chord sequence, which is 1, 6, 4, 5, and then 1 again. So in other words, that will be C chord, A minor, F, G. If you've ever played or anything by Bach, you've probably come across that chord sequence. Now, kind of thinking about style, let's just keep it to a kind of pop songy sort of style for this particular video, though some of what I talk about lends itself to lots of different styles. Let's just think of the chord first of all. It's a bit boring. So we think about what we can do to make this chord a little bit more interesting, and the obvious thing is to include more notes in it. I don't just want to include any old notes. We could do, but it might not work too well. So two notes that you can include into your chord to kind of spice them up a bit are the 7th and or the 9th. So starting from first degree of your scale, or the first note of your scale, you count up 7 notes, you come to here in C major, the B. So that's the major 7th. So if we include that B, it gives it a bit of a jazzy feel. I'm going to include the bass note, so the bottom note of the chord down here as well. So let's include that B. Instead of up there, I'm going to pop it down here. It's a nice kind of dreamy feel to it, or a kind of lift feel. Now let's just stick with that 7th for the time being. Well, this is where inversions become really useful. You could just keep the chord there whenever you played a C major 7. But what about if you moved it there? So rearrange the notes. I've taken the G and popped it on the bottom. You could put the B on top. That's very striking. You could have it in the middle. So thinking about whereabouts, in what shape you play the chord, is quite important. And that's all the same chord, just going between different inversions. And if we apply that principle to other chords as well, so let's think of the next chord in our sequence, A minor. And where's the 7th there? Oh, there's the first one. So the 7th is here, so it's a G. Again, we could pop the G on top, we could pop it underneath, we could sandwich it in the middle. That's probably quite nice. So let's just go between those two chords, a C chord and an A minor chord, but with the extra note, the 7th. Interesting. Let's do it to the F chord. Let's find the 7th. Now let's just try those 3 chords and try and make them into something of a sequence. Far more interesting. They're exactly the same things. Now let's think about the 9th, so the 9th degree of the scale. You might be thinking, hang on, there's only 8. Well, we could keep going into the other octave. Now the 9th is there. Now, commonly, it's probably easier to think of it as the 2nd. So in the case of C major, it's that one. This is the extra note that a lot of pop composers use. It's got a very bright sound. And again, we can move this around. could have the 7th and the 9th. And you can always see lots of subtle tunes weaving their way, or what could become tunes weaving their way into that. And it's still just that basic chord sequence. It's exactly the same. Now we've left the G chord alone for the time being, because we have to treat that slightly differently. If we pop the 7th in a G chord, we get this very, very abrasive sound. Now if we use the sharpened 7th, so as if we were in a G scale, we get an F sharp, which obviously is nothing to do with C major, so it does sound a bit odd. So 9ths are still fine for G. It still is in keeping with the other things that are going on, but I'd stay away from the 7th. One thing you can do to your G chord, and the official term for it is an 11th chord, so a G11. Actually what you do, if you take the G, keep it the same in the bass, and then move this triad down a tone, so it will be the F chord, and play that over the top of a G, you get a G11. And that's a nice way of just improving chord 5 a bit, and it will still sound like it's taking you back to the C chord. So if you put all that together, and then what I tend to do is just move about a little bit as I'm playing it to try and include some passing notes, some little snippets of melody. Obviously rhythm's quite important as well, what you do with the rhythm. It's nothing worse than just having one chord in every bar. Quite boring. And that's just using 7ths and 9ths as well as some passing notes in the chord. Have a try.